Delaney Spaulding had a built-in love for softball before she even realized.
My parents told me that I was at the softball field when I was 8 weeks old watching my sisters play. Obviously, I don't remember that, but I do remember taking my naps at the softball field and hearing the game being played in the background and just listening to the birds chirp and the audience watching the games. And I think that's like when I really found my love for the game. And even before I even touched the ball and played on my little league team, I really just fell in love watching my sisters play.
Like her sisters, Spaulding went on to play at Etiwanda High School. She then stayed local for college, starring at softball juggernaut UCLA.
Representing those 4 letters on the biggest stage at the Women's College World Series was a true honor. I had, like I said, many memories on and off the field, and I owe a lot to UCLA for getting me to where I am now, heading into the Olympics next month.
I want you to take me back to February 4th, 2020.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that day?
Well, it was our first game of the Stand Besider Tour. We had this amazing tour set up for USA Softball, basically traveling the entire country before we head to the Olympics. That first game at the end around the 6th inning, I believe it was, I was headed towards first base. There was an overthrow. I tried to go to second base and I just fell right on my stomach. And it turned out that I had torn my ACL and my medial meniscus. I knew right away that I had done something to my knee, just the feeling of it. And honestly, I was a loss of words. I was so emotional. I was just crying. I couldn't even look at my teammates. My head coach walked over to me and I didn't even know what to say to him. I just looked at him and I just had tears in my eyes.
After experiencing a gamut of emotions, Spaulding was determined to play in the 2020 Olympics, even on a torn ACL. But with the global pandemic raging, the games were placed on hold.
There was just so many what ifs. And then finally, when the IOC had announced that they were going to postpone and, it was going to happen, just not in July 2020, I immediately got on the phone and I said, look, I need to get surgery.
How did your family and your teammates lift you up during a time that must have been very difficult for you?
My teammates have been my backbone completely, and I don't know if I would have the strength that I have had in 2020 to rehab and then in 21 to get to full strength without them. I mean that completely, because they really have just encouraged me and lifted me up through this. I mean, it was pretty traumatic, and they were there since the first night that it happened.
What would it mean to your family, to yourself, to Rancho Cucamonga to bring home a medal?
Obviously, this Olympics, having an Olympic medal or going to an Olympic Games, it's a personal accomplishment, but I really, really, truly believe it's a family accomplishment. I wouldn't be here without my parents, the sacrifices that they have made, my sisters completely. There wasn't a game that I did not have a family member in the stands at UCLA. Obviously, the city of Rancho, I was born and raised here. All of my sisters and I went to the same high school. I have a love for Rancho Cucamonga. I want to stay here forever, basically. The Olympic Games mean so much more than just myself, and I think my teammates and I really understand that, and we want to represent our country very well. We understand the history of the USA softball team and what that legacy carries, and we want to uphold that to the best of our abilities. But we're not going to come across the pond without a gold medal, and that's what it takes.